Hi guys, we're going to test the new Taylormade MG4 Wedge. It's a new addition this year, just launched by Taylormade. Remember, if you like our channel, please hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends. Wow, very, very spinny. Love the feel off that face. Just clicked. So, Milgrind 4, replacement for Milgrind 3. Big success for Taylormade in MG3 and MG2. So Taylormade haven't really changed a lot. They haven't really changed their head design. They said that people like that shape, that they find that very, very easy to hit and easy on the eye. So they haven't really changed a lot in the shape of the head. However, there are some key changes. Now, on the head, they've changed the way they have the micro grooves. So rather than just being straight grooves in between the normal grooves, what they've done this year is they've angled them at 45 degrees. Now, what Taylormade say is that when you open up that wedge and you're playing that more lofted club and you want to pop the ball up in the air more, what that's going to do for you is it's going to give you a little bit added spin. Now, it's still going to rust up. It's still going to do what MG2 did, but not as obvious. So on the old MG2, you would have noticed that the middle part of the club, the face of the club, would have rusted quite quickly, and it was quite obvious between that and the rest of the head. This year they've dulled that down a little bit, so it tends to blend into the rest of the head nice and easily. Now, when you open up in that, what else are those grooves going to do for you? Well, yes, they're going to add some spin. Yes, they're going to, as Taylormade say, going to give you more control. But which wedge company is not going to say that? They're all going to say give you more spin, give you more control. But one of the interesting things with it is they do talk about the removal of moisture from the face. So one of the things that the new grooves will do in wet conditions is make sure that moisture doesn't get between the ball and the club face and help get that little bit additional spin. So I'm out here on the golf course. I've got a 15, 20 yard pitch shot, not very far. It's a shot that I like to play quite a lot with this type of wedge. So we're going to hit some shots and just see what that feedback and feel is actually like. So before we start hitting, we've got to do what Taylormade like us to do, a little bit of theatre for you. They put this in all their wedges. So take off the face. Now, they put a sticker on it so it doesn't rust up in the shop. So let's get that sticker off that face. Fresh wedge. So let's see how this one feels. So as an old MG2 player, no surprises in the way this is going to look behind the golf ball. MG4 looks clean, looks sharp. I like the way the contrast has been dulled down between the face and the head. Looks a little bit sharper for me. So with our Taylormade Pix golf ball, frames it quite nicely. Let's hit a couple and see how this feels. Wow, very, very spinny. Even on 20 yards there, I'm playing the 54, the standard bounce. That was really, really spinny. Just nips up really nicely. Released a little bit skinny, that one. Let's play one more. I love the feel off that face. Just clicks. I quite like that in a wedge, a little clicky fit. A little bit heavy, nice release. All in all, that felt fantastic. So we tried the 54, 20 yards from the green. It felt really nice. You know, it felt like a good solid contact. It felt that I had super amount of control and spin off the face. But to test this, and test these new grooves that Taylormade talk about, we've put it in the rough. So I've short-sided myself on this little par 3. I've got a horrible little lie sitting down. So we really need to see if by opening up this 58 degree that I've got in my hand, that I can get the same little sort of control. So let's see what happens when we do that. So I'm going to open up that face. Let's see if we play. Oh, popped up lovely. Really, really soft when you hit that off the club face, even off those horrible lies. Part of this is going to be down to my skill level, so we might not see it being perfect, but you can see I'm digging that golf ball right down in the rough. Opening up that face, it's popping up nice and quick, and that stopped really quick for a ball that's come out of the rough quite quickly, especially to a little raised green. MG4 has got a real nice feel to it. Now, it's very difficult because wedges are incredibly personal. They're impersonal the way they look. They're very similar to a putter, that you've got to like the look of it and sits behind the ball. Now, for me, this looks quite nice and compact. I've got SM9s in the bag at the moment. Would I switch to MG4? I think I'd need to play a little bit more. I'm a big fan of the SM9 with the grind options, but the fact that they've added a few grind options into this range this year means that there might be a few more options for me. Now, the one that I'm particularly interested in is the TW head and grind that they've added. So they've got that in the 56 and 60. I don't ever play a 56, but I do play a 60. So to get that wedge that sits a bit tighter to the ground, I think I might have a try with that. So let's pop another one in there and see how that feels. Oh, it just pops up lovely. You can feel it off the face. It doesn't feel like it wants to jump. Previous wedges, MG2 specifically, which I played for a whole season, actually felt like when you got hold of it out of the rough or a little bit too fast off the face, it tended to feel like it popped. It felt like I didn't have all the control over it, even though it had that rusty face. That one out of the rough there felt very much like I had total control, and it didn't feel like it was going to run away from me. So it performed off the fairway. It felt nice off the fairway, where you would expect all of these wedges to do. But out the rough there, I think it's definitely got a little bit of advantage. Maybe it's those grooves, maybe it's the way I played it, but it definitely felt incredibly nice, short-sided out the rough. We've put it to the test. We've hit it on the golf course. It's the only place you can really have a go with wedges and new wedges on the grass. It's time to give it that AF golf score, but before we do, I just want one more little addition that we need to add, and that is that this year that Taylormade have changed the shaft. So they've gone from the S200 shaft that's been in the previous models, and they've banged in the 115 model. Now, the beauty of that's their standard shaft. It's lighter. It's going to give a bit more control, which is great. But what Taylormade do, and one thing we're very lucky to have, is the Taylormade fitting kit. So you can pull heads off and put different shafts in. So you know, you can put a Project X in there if you want. You can put pretty much what you want. And as we build it as well, it always helps that we can kind of match in and blend in with your irons to give you the right feel. So onto the scores. Let's start with that number one look. Well, it looks like a Taylormade. They haven't changed much. I always like Taylormade wedges, so for me, it's a straightforward 8 out of 10. On to feel. Felt fantastic, especially out of the rough. I mean, out of the rough, it was unbelievably good. I'd be interested to see how it is with a few more full shots in the 50s. Not something that I play a lot, so it's not something that really I want to test because of that. So I'm going to go 8 out of 10. Affordability. 159 looks like it's what it's going to be playing this year. It's not cheap, but price of wedges generally has gone up, so it's sitting in that market. It's sitting next to SM9 at 159. It's definitely going to be a competitor to that. So affordability for me, 8 out of 10. Custom options. Now, custom options is good. I mean, like I said, the fact that they've got fitting heads now, you can screw the heads apart, you can put what shafts you want in it, we can build it. For a wedge, it's really good. I mean, there's a few upcharges in there, but overall, it's a really good set of custom options for a wedge, especially with the new grinds in there as well, so plenty of choice. So again, I'm going to go 8 out of 10. So performance, well, it's mainly down to, in my mind, it's down to those grooves. It's down to those grooves angled at 45 degrees, especially in those lofted clubs, to give you that little bit more feel and control and spin, as Taylormade say, around the greens when you're playing that more controlled shot. So again, we haven't played it in wet conditions. We haven't tested it in different seasons yet. But for what I played today, I can only give it an 8 out of 10. So overall for us, the MG4 wedge from Taylormade is going to get a massive score of 40 out of 50. So there we go, guys. That concludes our first review of MG4 out on the golf course. Overall, solid wedge. Definitely going to be a competitor. I think it's going to marry beautifully with that P790 iron and the rest of the Taylormade range, but overall a really good range of wedges. So remember, if you do want to give them a try, all of our stores have the Taylormade wedge fitting kit. You can try different shafts, different heads, and you can book a free custom fit in any of our golf stores. And please remember, before you leave this video, hit that subscribe button and tell all your golfing friends.